Welcome to Bob Larson Live. We had a little glitch getting started here. That's what happens when you do something live, and we are live with you, and we're going to be taking live chats today. We wanted to be able to respond to the latest information available regarding the Highland Park shootings that took place just a week ago on Independence Day. And so by going live with it, we're able to give you the best information as to the truth behind this. And it's even more shocking than you realize. You're about to hear some things that have not been talked about to any extent in the secular media. It's a place that the police don't want to go, prosecutors don't want to go, and nobody wants to talk about it, but we're going to discuss it. We're taking live chats. America, a week later, is still in shock from the Independence Day mass killings in Highland Park, Illinois. The murders were obviously demonic. But what was the devil's open door to influence the shooter, Robert Crimo III? We've got some answers. We've got some insights that you're not going to hear anywhere concerning witchcraft in the family bloodline. Let me jump to a couple of quick chats here and comments. Jacqueline, thank you so much. Just upgraded her membership in the members-only spiritual warfare training channel to commander level. I guess you got 140 plus videos right now. Start binge watching right away. Cindy has been a commander for 7 months. Cindy, thank you so very much. Murray for life. I think that's my good friend Arthur. Blessings, Pastor Bob, down from Texas. And Diane, thank you so much. Always appreciate your interest, gifts, and support of the ministry. She says, I love this ministry. We love it too. Zelko, I recognize that name. You're very active on the chat lines from time to time. And he says, how do demons know what is legal authority? Because you keep asking them what is legal authority. Well, they know what's legal authority because the demon has to know how it gets in. And the legal right of an open door is how the devil gets in. So he has to know where the door is, and he has to know what the door is. Hi, Julietta. Louisa, tuning in from Napa, Idaho. God bless you so much. Edward, hi to you. Camelia, blessings, friend. Sending love from Denmark, all the way from Denmark. God bless you. I have a bae who is watching from India today. Let's see what else we got here. Boy, there's a name I can't pronounce. Nkozo? I'd be interested to know where you're from, sir. Awesome, Pastor Bob. Diane says, I can't hear. Well, hopefully you can hear now because we had a little problem getting started today. Vita says, hi, Bob. Yvette. Bob, it's Yvette. I met you in your office last week. You did. Good to see you and glad to know that you're doing well. Beverly says, greetings from New York. The shooter looked like he was involved in occult activities. Well, he was. All right. And Graph Life. EH is watching from LA, and we have someone who is watching us from Slovenia and says hello. So we're going to get some more chats in a moment, particularly if you have a comment about the topic today. So let's jump right into it in a second. Be sure to like and share. This is one of those things that is not planned normally in our schedule, but liking and sharing will enable others out there who don't know about this to quickly have an opportunity to join. And of course, always subscribe to our channel. And one of the benefits of subscribing is that you know when special features like this are going to be happening. And you can be watching because usually these things are given on a short notice. So if you are a subscriber, you will get a notification well before anybody else does, and you can come and be part of that process. And as always, I have to remind you, it's so important that you understand we subsist on the support of the gifts and the donations of our friends. And one of the best ways you can support this ministry and what it's doing on a worldwide basis to reach out and teach and train so many people in the areas of healing, exorcism, and deliverance is to go to boblarson.org and click on donate. Or you can click text to give at 833-361-4711. And the best way that you can educate yourself about this whole realm of spiritual warfare is, of course, to enroll in our International School of Exorcism. Also the members-only channel, both sources of incredible information. Let me check some chats out there real quick. Kate is watching from Canada. Joshua is watching from Florida. American Patriots, do you got some holy water? We do. And if you go to our website, we've just kept it for a few more days, this Freedom Pack that contains the blessed holy anointing oil from this ministry, the pendant cross of deliverance, the full-size cross deliverance, and we're throwing a copy of our book of curse breaking to make sure that you have the full complement of things you knew to fight the devil. And Nikozo, thank you so much, Pastor Bob. I'm learning a lot about spiritual warfare all the way from South Africa. Here's a question about werewolves. Alma and Paul. God bless you guys. Watching us down from Florida. Longtime friends of this ministry, leaders of our team in that Central Florida area. Great people. Orange, California is watching in. I'm probably not going to get into the subject of lycanthropy and werewolves and that sort of thing and shape-shifting and people in black magic and the supernatural who take on animal forms. As strange as it sounds, and it is rare, those types of things can occur. It's not the Hollywood style of thing, but people do shapeshift. And those in black magic, particularly the higher forms of it, are often able to do this. It's done in Africa, it's done in Tibet, and it's done by black magicians here. All right, now let's get to the topic of today. July 4. A week ago, Robert Crimo III unleashed a hail of bullets on a crowd attending an Independence Day parade in Highland Park, Illinois. Most of you know the facts, but you're going to hear some facts you didn't know. He used a Smith & Wesson M&P 15 to carry out the attack, killing 7, latest total injuring 47. He faces 7 first-degree murder charges. This attack had been planned for weeks. He had detailed drawings of his intentions. He got this huge ladder, climbed to the top of a sporting goods store that would overlook the parade route, and began firing on innocent men, women, and children below. We're going to talk a lot about his family, but after this whole thing, the family had very little to say. The mother said nothing. You're going to find out why in a moment. He just issued a statement saying, "We are good people." Sorry, Robert Crimo II. The facts don't support that. Why this kid killed isn't really all that puzzling when you know the facts, the truth. So we're going to break this down by sharing facts about the killer and his family. And you'll see that not only was this evil predictable, but it was demonically rooted in family dynamics. Demon Slayer says, "I love to see you take out demons." Focus says, "Bob, can you tell me why when I'm watching in the mirror I get thoughts of demons and evil and won't go away, and sometimes I get random thoughts and I want it to go away and I don't know why?" Well, as far as the mirror thing, the use of a mirror or scrying or other types of objects to look into is an ancient form of the occult. And many people first begin to experience their manifestations by looking in a mirror. Of course, there's the game, the child game, by which a lot of kids become demon possessed by looking into a mirror and chanting Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. So there is a long history of doing that sort of thing. Let's talk about this family. The family in general. So let's break it down. There's these three basic individuals. The killer, Robert Crimo III. The dad, Robert Crimo II. And the mother, Denise Pacina. So keep those people. The father, Crimo II. The shooter, Crimo III, this young man. And the mother, Denise Pacina. Here's the background on the family. What led up to all of this? You've heard me say before when we've talked about these terrible tragedies. It's not about the guns. Many times it's not about the mental illness. It's about the family environment, the traumatized, dysfunctional situation out of which these killers came. Every single time, I'm a broken record. I keep getting in front of this camera and talking about this shooting, that shooting, and always, it's from a godless, dysfunctional home. These kids are killing not just because they have a gun. That's just the instrument of their evil. They're killing because they're demonized, traumatized, out of coming from homes that are not solid Christian homes with core biblical values. They were not raised by loving parents who cared for each other and communicated that care into their children. So listen to this. This is the Crimo family out of which the shooter came. Before the shooting, nearly a dozen times the police have been called to the family home over a period of several years. The mother, Pacina, gave contradictory statements about marriage problems in Crimo II. The father, the police come, they have this confrontation, and usually he ends up leaving the house. The killer's father claimed that his wife, this is the mother of this killer, hit the father with a screwdriver and scratched him, tried to stab him with it, threw his belongings on the floor. And the police reported these numerous times that they were at the house that both of them were frequently extremely intoxicated. Now this kid, this is the absurdity of it. He got this gun because his father sponsored the gun permit to buy that murder weapon because the killer was underage at the time. And his father got this. Now get this, his father signed for the permit to get the gun, even though the killer, Crimo III, had previously threatened to kill himself and to kill the whole family. What kind of a father who has a son who's threatening to kill the family buys him a gun capable of killing? I'll tell you who. His dad ran a couple of delis in the city. He was cited by the police for selling tobacco and alcohol to minors. This is not a good man. I don't know why the father was so evil, and you'll hear more about the mother in a moment. All right. Somebody wants to know. I see a lot of these 20-year-olds with tattoos covering their necks. Yeah. Demonic portals in many cases. A reflection of the inner self-loathing, that they disfigure themselves in the most obvious way that the eye can't avoid and the shirt can't cover. They're sending a message, as this kid did with tattoos across his face. All right, let's talk about the killer. We now know that he was traumatized many times when he was growing up. to the extent that it deprived him of any sense of empathy for other people because of how his parents were treating him. In fact, when he was a little kid, about 2 years of age, in weather 80 degrees plus, his mother left him in a car for half an hour while she went into a store, and she was cited for endangering his life. She was sentenced to 100 hours of community service. And you got to wonder, that 2-year-old kid in the car, traumatized by that heat, being left alone by his mother for a half an hour. What did it do to that kid? We don't know, but it wasn't good. And just that in itself was a demonic point of entry. A legal right, as we were talking about further, but hey, it gets worse. He had been cited for underage tobacco possession, for theft from a Macy's store. So the guy's a thief, he's stealing. And he's obsessed with 47. You can see it on the side of his car. He's got this numerology thing going. It gets worse. He owned a sex doll. This is the killer. Owned a sex doll he called Sophie, and he posted social media pictures of him driving with Sophie, the sex doll, sitting next to him. He even showed a picture in social media of his sex doll hanging by a noose in the closet with the caption, "Sophie killed herself, I don't know why." This inner hatred was expressed, ranting against black people, Jewish people. He denied the Holocaust. This is a kid who had tried to kill himself multiple times. Family, friends warned the parents. They did nothing. He was a cutter. He indulged in self-harm. Are you getting the picture of what this kid was like before he climbed that ladder to the roof and began to shoot innocent people? All of this was building up with this kid. And these clueless parents who can't get along with each other, who are living separately in different places, are messed up themselves, and they're messing up this kid. And then this kid turns around and murders people. They belong in jail. He kept threatening to kill himself and kill the family. In fact, one of the times he threatened to kill the family, the police were called in. They confiscated 16 knives and a 24-inch samurai sword. What is a 20-something kid doing with 16 knives? You think his parents might know that? Where do you hide 16 knives and a samurai sword? They're not paying any attention. They can't even function with each other. They're inebriated. The Lord alone knows what else has happened. And this kid is a social media rapper who called himself Awake the Rapper. And that number 47, 7447, the date, does that have something to do with this? And the parents stated they had no idea about their son's rapping career. Are you kidding me? This kid's all over social media and music sites like Spotify and so on. And he's putting his stuff out there. And he's got all this craziness. He's got this weird number in the side of his car. He's got these strange tattoos on his face. And these parents know nothing about it. They don't even have a clue their kid is doing this. But the truth. I mean, look at this guy. Don't you think if your son looked like this, you might want to ask him why? You might want to do some probing. You might want to seek out a priest, a pastor, a counselor, a therapist, somebody to see if they could talk to this kid. and understand what's going on? No. Look at this guy. This is an accident waiting to happen. This is a killer in the making. But it gets worse. Joe says, I've been watching Bob Larson for years. He tells the truth about demons. They are real. Jay Kong says, parents, they're at fault too. Absolutely. Very interesting comments here. Now, let's get to the mother. This is the core of the problem. Denise Pacina. She doesn't go by the Crimo name. I don't know. Obviously, this was a weird relationship this mother and father had. Very strange relationship. She's 48 years of age. But let's get some background on this woman. And there are some pictures of her we can't even show to you, which she looks very, and I don't even want to use the word to describe her, but it is Jezebel. And she even acts and looks and poses very much like Jezebel. So this is the mother. Before marrying the killer's father, she had an illegitimate child with a guy named Stephen. In 1999, she sought a protective order against this guy, claiming he had assaulted her 4-year-old daughter, who is now the killer's stepsister. Now, I don't know if he did it or not, but he's not a good guy. In fact, her ex, before she married the killer's father, is not around to talk. He's dead. He killed himself by carbon monoxide poisoning. So get this. That woman, the killer's mother, was previously involved living with the man with whom she had an illegitimate child, and he ended up killing himself, which brought a curse of death upon her. So whatever was already skewed in the life of this woman, the suicide made it worse. In 2012, she was sentenced to a year's probation and 100 hours of community service for DUI and a failed sobriety test. Oh, it gets worse, friend. So she's married to the killer's father, but apparently she's got a boyfriend named David, who once called the police claiming that she had bitten him. You can't make this stuff up. You see why this kid killed? And then her boyfriend goes to the police because he says that Pacina, the killer's mother, had bitten him, drawing blood, and that she was hit and a victim of domestic violence by Crimo II, the killer's father. Are you getting confused here? Are you staying with me? This is like this maze, this labyrinth of evil that just has got tentacles reaching out so many different directions. We're not to the bottom of it yet. Hang on. Pacina, the killer's mother, was immersed in occult witchcraft. She ran a business named Trilogy Energy Systems, a Reiki energy healing enterprise. And according to her Facebook page, look at it, that's the Eye of Horus, the ancient Egyptian god of death and magic. She claims to have studied traditional Chinese medicine at Shanghai University and Hindu occult medicine at the Ayurvedic Institute. Now, I don't have time to go into Ayurveda. I've discussed this in many of my books, but it's a traditional Hindu form of medicine. Just like the Chinese have alternative medicine, the Hindus have alternative medicine, and it's really kooky stuff. I've explained what it's all about in my books. But this is what she was into. All these demonic supernatural powers. As I said a moment ago, the website for all of this features this demonic eye of Horus, the Egyptian god, which is, by the way, the symbol of black magic and the Illuminati. Can this get any deeper? Yes. The site, her own site, is still up there. Claims that she's a graduate of the New Age Spa Institute. And get this, she belongs to the Universal Life Church Ministries, which is a religious credentialing mill. I mean, they just, you send them X amount of dollars and they ordain you to some kind of ministry. And she also, and I get this, we're looking for the witchcraft, demonic roots in the mother. She admits to, on the website, look at it, practicing shamanic indigenous plant medicine from Peru and Brazil. The only thing that's missing is a mention of Ayurveda. She probably was into that too. Shamanic, that's the code word for witchcraft. Plant medicine, which believes in those traditions in South America that plants have a spirit. And you ingest the spirit by ingesting the plant in various types of ways. I want to read you a quote from her website. These are her words directly. Now you get an idea, the truth behind this, and why this kid did these killings. So listen to this. Now, if you understand anything about the New Age and the occult and witchcraft, and especially all the new types of spiritualism that abound in our culture today, there are so many buzzwords here. Listen for the buzzwords. This is her writing about this company she has. This is the mother of the killer. Trilogy Energy Systems is committed to the well-being of all energy systems. So it's this universal life force of energy, the prana, the hana, the ki, the whatever. Different names, different cultures, different places. It's all this vibrational energy that is essentially God that moves in and out of through every living thing. All right. Reading on, quoting. One person has the ability to influence innumerous lives. I don't know where she got that word. Beginning with your healing, you have the ability to emit higher vibrational frequencies affecting those around you. Yeah, as a matter of fact, her vibrational frequencies of witchcraft caused her son in part to become demon-possessed and kill those people. Now, I read on. Listen to this. These vibrational frequencies are filled with healing energy affecting patterns of lower vibrations. The universal frequencies accessed through healing will reach a broader spectrum of space and time, opening up new levels of ability and resources. What's that mean? Typical New Age double talk. You don't know what it means. It's just stuff out there that they throw out to suck you in. Read it on. These new levels of abundance will not only be accessible in your life, but in the lives of all of those you love, reaching ever so farther than you can imagine. Imagine intertwining these frequencies with others on a healing path, creating a web of transformation across the universe, healing all of those who cannot heal themselves. But she couldn't heal her own son, living under her roof, raised by her, nurtured in this doublespeak, gobbledygook, New Age amorphous language that doesn't really mean anything, but sucks people into it, and they become demon-possessed. And this kid was demon-possessed. Now you understand why I say he was demon-possessed? Now am I making some sense to you? I want to give you some conclusions about this. Rose says the police officers that were told by higher-ups to stand down and not respond when the shooter was on his rampage, the officers took their own children out to safety for shooting. I think we're talking about the Uvalde thing here. I can't believe this. I love that Bob is, I can believe this one. It's on ground zero for this stuff. Somebody mentions theosophy. Yeah, this is kind of theosophy. Matt says, all New Age Buddhists, lotus flowers, inviting these spirits. Yeah. Bad trees can't bear good fruit, Jay Kong says. Absolutely. All right. Let's wrap this up. What do we conclude from this tragedy? By the way, you got to be watching Wednesday night, Bob Larson Live. If you don't usually watch, watch. I'm going to have a woman on who has one of the most unbelievable stories you will ever hear. I've ministered to this woman. Her own mother hired a hitman to kill her when she was a child. This is what's going on in our world. Are we in the last days? As it was in the days of Sodom, as it was in the days of Noah. Let's draw some conclusions from this tragedy. Number one, can we just shut up about the guns? Just for once, I want to hear a politician not immediately default to the gun. That's the easy thing to do. When the lives of these parents and their dysfunction that twisted the mind of this child is on open display, if they want to take time to look up the facts, how about we go after the parents and the families? How about we prosecute these parents for dereliction of their moral duty? How about we throw them in jail for life? Does that sound unreasonable? They created a killer. They created a killer. Until we get this figured out, that this horrible happening, it was preventable from so many egregious standpoints. The father had demons. Without question, the mother had demons. And the kid inherited the demons. And then he picked up a few of his own. And all of that orchestrated these murders. Number one, this family gives new meaning to the word dysfunctional. Crimo the killer was raised with little empathy, emotional security, no core spiritual values. He was a murderer waiting to kill or cause bodily harm at some point. Number two, the father seems clueless, disconnected, devoid of sensibilities on how to raise a child. But being married to Jezebel did not help this Ahab. Number three, this mother is a full-blown witch in biblical terms. In fact, there's even a suggestion out there in the internet that says she recently embraced Mormonism. Oh, right, that's going to help a lot. Whatever demons Robert Crimo III, the killer, had at birth were augmented by the extra demons that his mother's belief system piled on him. Jeremiah 31:29 speaks of a generation whose fathers have eaten sour grapes, and the children's teeth are set on edge. They are soured, they are poisoned because of the parents. The evil of one generation does visit the next. Obviously, this family never paid any attention to Ephesians 6:4. Fathers and mothers, don't provoke your children to wrath, which is exactly what happened here. this Ahab father, this Jezebel mother, they set the stage for immeasurable death and suffering. What the politicians need to do, instead of always defaulting to the obvious, is to start demanding that American families get their homes in order. That's the real truthful takeaway from the Highland Park shootings. Our hearts go to the saddened people, family members and friends, parents of small children, children of elderly people, gunned down. Some will suffer for life. They will be maimed, they will be scarred, they will be paralyzed. And these parents will go on living, probably not with each other, unless Jesus comes into their lives. More disasters are going to happen. These are the last days, but it doesn't mean we capitulate and we throw up our hands and we expect things like this. It means that we get more determined than ever to set people free. That Jesus is the answer to situations like this, stopping them before they happen. I don't care how many laws you passed against mental illness and guns and whatever else you want to do. If we don't take a moral stand in America and start putting some boundaries spiritually and morally on what is acceptable behavior, what is proper behavior, what is godly and decent behavior, more kids like this are going to slip through the cracks of families who are broken and demonized. I'm sorry, but Congress isn't going to do it. The president isn't going to do it. The politicians aren't going to do it. The academic leaders aren't going to do it. There's a lot of these folks who got us in this mess. Only you and I can make that difference. One person at a time. I have no idea. I've often thought through the years how many lives this ministry has saved because we cast the demons out of a potential killer. It's happened literally thousands of times. How many people were not injured or hurt or damaged in some way because by God's grace, you and I were able to be there in some form through the teachings of this ministry, through our books, through our videos, through our encounters. And I implore you, if you've got a problem child who is spinning out of control, and maybe some of that was your fault, maybe it wasn't, who knows the situation, get some help. Our associate ministers are standing by to speak with them. I'm available in person and virtually to intervene in this situation. We can help you. We can get you help. Don't let it continue any further. And thanks to those of you who pray for and support this ministry. And if you know a troubled youth, Jesus is the answer. Get them to a competent place of help before this happens again. See you Wednesday night when you hear from a woman whose mother hired a hitman to kill her when she was a child. Amazing story of how she survived. Thank you for your blessing this ministry with your prayers and your support by going right now to boblarson.org and clicking on donate and doing something special to help us. Thanks to all those of you who chatted out there. I wish I could have gotten to every single one of them. Some amazing things that you were saying, but our time has gotten away from us. We'll see you Wednesday night. And remember, what I've described to you today doesn't have to be like this, because with Jesus Christ, you can get free, stay free, and live free.
Your financial support and prayers make it possible for us to bring hope for the hurting and freedom to those in spiritual bondage. For the latest information regarding ministry outreaches, go to boblarson.org or call 303-980-1515.